permission. You do what you want to do.
Okay.
We won't know how that's gonna go, but this time round, for MSC's very first best of 5, it is gonna be RSG versus Burn X Flash. Let's jump into the draft.
Wow, Atlas just literally pulled that through. Now, we're talking about important heroes for both teams, and that's all starts with a ban. I don't think that, but wow! I was about to say that the Badang might not be first ban, but literally they first ban it.
Respect ban
Wow.
from both sides. RSG respected Shamar, and in the meantime, Burn X Flash respecting on the Diablo.
Okay, here's what it is, right? Coach Mitch said it. He said it in the video. Diablo, we're gonna ban your heroes, and here he's being a man of his word.
I mean, even though we said that, yes, he is going to ban his heroes, and even the Handsome Devil just giving us a quick little Rizzy smile there, capturing hearts and minds across the world. RSG is also respecting Shima on this Lancelot, just a secure, safe pick.
Yeah, definitely. We know that RSG, they play a traditional marksman, right? You can see from the Oki. So you want to ban out heroes that will be a problem for the marksman. And my, oh my, respect is off the charts. You know what happens now that you ban out both Diablo's heroes, like signature heroes? It opens up a lot, like Joy Arlet, your Valentina, your typical bans. 1-1 might be even open for RSGs.
Burn X Flash have to tread carefully. Right now, with the two signature picks being banned out, Diablo's hero pool is so deep that he only showed these two.
Diablo Iceberg.
Yeah.
The Diablo Iceberg.
Definitely. I think
Diablo.
There was an interview with Diablo that they wanted the teams to specifically ban out Diablo's heroes because he wants to play more heroes. So I wonder what he still has got in his bag of tricks.
I do know there's quite a couple, right? Throughout the past few seasons, even though, you know, it may have moved out of meta to a certain extent, we still could see a possibility of Paquito. Yuzhong not really so much anymore, but he could definitely play that. Uranus is starting to see a comeback, so we could very likely see Uranus.
Well, let's not forget about Benedetta, my personal favorite as well. I always like a good Benedetta player, but as Wolf mentioned, there's actually a lot of picks that are up in the air. Diablo banned. It's a dapper disguise as Diablo only played non-meta heroes in Badang and Khalid so far, both of which Burn X Flash has banned.
Very quickly. That means that the Joy will be opened up. With the ban on the Kaja, I think it merits a... You know, RSG is like they're going to be rewarded to pick up the Joy right now. They only will have to think about the Franco, which I think that will be answered, but instead it's going to be the Frederick.
We're not mentioning the fact that now, in the knockouts, Brock is back. But just to say, where's the Nova? Nova's open!
Various open.
Anybody remember what happened to Outplayed? I don't know, but Bray, he better have his fingers warmed up on his retribution on first purple.
Oh, surely. I think you go Novaria right now if you're Burn X Flash. Okay, they go glue Novaria.
There it is. Coach Mitch heard me.
Okay, you still have the Joy. I think that it still is a good pick for RSG SG nevertheless. And wow, they're so the crowd is just cracked up.
That crowd, literally my secret lab is shaking, and this is a heavy-duty chair.
Yes. I mean, so far, I do like the idea of Joy, right? Joy so far within the entirety of MSC has only been picked 4 times and won twice.
Oh, there it is!
Benedetta! That's pretty early.
You like it, right, Gideon? And I think that it's probably way too early, though. But I think it makes sense.
Yeah,
against the glue.
I think it made sense a lot. I thought for a moment that was going to be a Farsa pick, but even the players are just dashing back and forth. I'm not sure whether that is going to be the secured one, because again, I was expecting Farmis to be the natural go-to mage, or maybe even flex into the support position against this glue. But we see the Beatrix locked in for Burn X Flash.
So far, Burn X Flash have already shown their few cards. There's not much of a flexibility going on around here. Actually, to be fair, Novaria, we have seen roam Novaria a few times. But in MSC, it has been very... How can I say? It's been working as a mage. We've seen the pokes, we've seen the damage. So I believe that Burn X Flash might want to replicate something like that.
And this is not the hometown heroes trying to upstage RSG, because if you remember, Oki and Roy did their double Kamehameha, right?
Exactly.
And now it's Seacat and Dono who's trying to do that.
It's the bang bang.
That's right.
The MLBV, right? You go for the Novaria for added hitbox, which is very unique to the hero, and I think that it really brings a lot to the table. You saw how that Renner was able to connect just because of that increased hitbox coming out from the
and
Novaria.
vision!
And extra vision,
Off of the Astral Echo, I'm loving it.
That's why I love the Novaria. It's just a borderline OP hero, you know?
You say borderline OP, it's
Yeah.
either teams have been picking it up straight away and dominating, or completely ignoring it, right?
Yeah.
And now we start moving into the second phase, and a lot of questions come into my mind. And number one is, what exactly does RSG look to kind of how do they position themselves here against this draft so far?
Yeah, so you're looking at RSG. They have both. I mean, I would assume that this is Farsa and Fredrin. They want to engage for sure. So they want to just really 5v5 against their opponent. So if you want to position your composition, you're going to be looking for another way to start the fights, not the Benedetta, because the Benedetta is more like a split pusher, you know?
But Diablo's Benedetta so far has always been trying to do a lot of split push, and he would mostly be absent in team fights. He creates so much space, and he would want to be ahead of tempo against this glue. Whatever he can do, he wants to get the lane priority in order to find some other control with the team.
I mean, if this does become a big problem, they drop this series, at least Burnex Flash doesn't have to go to an airport to go back home. They can just take a step back and be like, guys, next game, let's really start thinking about this. But more importantly, also it is the Farsa confirmed.
It is the Farsa.
So they want some form of scaling to really punish this Novaria. But we saw it the last time, when you stay still, and especially when you're up against Beatrix as well as Novaria, double damage.
Yeah, this is why I feel that there should be something that RSG is prepared, has prepared because of this Farsa pick. Because, you know, theoretically speaking, I don't think it will be good versus the Novaria and the glue. Like, there's already a lot of counters, but it does have a lot, of course. And we know that both Beatrix and Novaria can be taken out easily. So maybe that's the idea here.
Single worthy foe.
Let me pose you a question, Wolf. The fact that Diggy is already getting banned out here, the fact that we don't even see Grok or Kufra, Lucian Cutie, the cute one's Minotaur all over again?
100%. I think it's good. And, well, then again, if you look at the other heroes of RSG, SG, maybe they're not that scared about the Minotaur because he naturally can evade it. But yeah, I think that the Minotaur eventually will be up there. There's the Bane. Gonna be very good against the Farsa because the Farsa stays still. You have a deadly catch, you cancel the ultimate easily.
Not just the Bane though, not just the Minotaur, I mean. Maybe even the Atlas. Consider that. What if they want to close the gap that way, given how, I'd say, mobile RSG is right now?
I'm thinking of Franco as well. After looking at how D7 has been playing a mean Franco, we can definitely expect to see Lucian Cutie playing on the Franco based on his win rate even in the MPLSG. He's been doing relatively good with that. And pickoff is probably something that they will want to see.
Oh, they steal it. This is smart. And you go carry so that you have the shred.
So now they have the anti-tank, they have the team of fights set up. I mean, we were speculating how they want to set up this fight to make sure that at least this Farsa can do something. But now we see it, right? It's a very clear picture.
Carry hasn't been doing very well in MSC, but at least when you pick it here, when you go and close up your lineup with this, you're doing fine. And yep, it's D7. Oh no, that's so much range, so much hot hands coming in from Burn. X Flash, it's in their name.
Wow, this is interesting because now there's no way to cancel the Bloody Hunt coming out from the side of RSG. So if they do land a snag, and by the way, this is Novaria Ultimate, remember? Hitboxes. You know, Franco, we theorized that maybe this could be the way for Burnex Flash.
So that's 3 skill shots that they have to be worried about. Let's look at the audience predictions so far. And of course, Cambodia, wait, 80%? I thought that was going to be 100%, but a large majority leaning towards RSG. Even the Turkish agree with them.
Singaporeans haven't really been, fully supporting our own homeboys, huh?
Yeah.
I think that's a fair argument.
Wow.
Oh boy, but with that being said here, this is it. This is the knockout stage. We're finally here at day 1 in our first match of this best of 5. Oh boy, Leo, I think it's time. Would you like to introduce these teams?
Yes, I would! Let's get back into the land of dawn. I know y'all missed it. Here's RSG Slate SG going up against Burnex Flash in the opener of the knockout stage.
Right off the bat, what I do want to see and what I want to question when it comes down to RSG's lineup is the fact that they are such a front-to-back, team fight-oriented composition. This kind of seems as though that they are trying to set themselves up so that even if Diablo is not around trying to create space somewhere else, they can still possibly win a fight.
But we've seen lineups that have great coverage. We've seen lineups that try to do so much with so much space that it eventually flops. Look at this, an early amount of damage taken onto Oki, an early recall.
Yeah, definitely. This is much needed for Burnix Flash, knowing full well that the main damage coming up from RSG will be coming from the gold laner, Oki. I mean, you could argue that the Farsa eventually will output the damage, but generally speaking, your constant source of DPS comes from the carry. And starting in the gold lane means that Burnix Flash identifies that as the main win condition for RSG.
Something to note as well, look at all of the flickers coming in from Burnix Flash. They are looking to, instead of Purify through the Minoan Fury, through the main CC that RSG SG are presenting, they're just going to get out of there. Yeah. So I'm thinking hard re-engage. So Burnix Flash are not going to take this lying down. Again, the pressure down here in bottom lane. Oh, D7.
Yeah. Relatively passive game so far coming in from both sides. It kind of seems as though RSG do want to put a little bit of priority onto the bottom lane, considering the fact that Carry and Beatrix is a relatively even matchup.
And the answer from RSG Slade is they're going to put a lot more in XP. They're going to try to watch out for XP because look, they've now left Donut and Oki.
Yeah, so I think they're going to mirror each other. It's the triple switch wherein you switch the mid lane to the XP lane and you put the roamer in the mid lane and you have the XP laner roaming in the river.
And now at 2 minutes, Turtle is up. Shima first on the scene. ATM drawing a line.
They're just going to be putting all of their resources onto ATM first. However, it doesn't seem like it's going to be phasing ATM at all until Roy came into the picture. As now the split is just going to be connected onto Bray. As we look over to the back, Diablo just going to be focusing onto the turtle. But that will be Lucian Cutie that takes the turtle at first. But X-Flash immediately retreated themselves afterwards.
A string of odd occurrences.
Yes.
First up, Lucian Cutie gets the turtle, and then first blood drawn onto who you want to put the turtle on for Burnix Flash.
That was really a weird interaction, but big props to the side of RSG SG, just making sure that they
Donut! Immediate flickers himself out of the way. Roy gets a kill. D7 connects right down onto the hook, plus the knockdown, and that is going to be a 1-for-1 trade.
Yo, absolutely overextension coming up from RSG, from RSG, then Burnix Flash with a great punish. And this is important because now you give a lot to the gold laners, from both ends actually. But then again, it's even more so important for RSG. Burnix Flash, they have a way out of this. They can go for pickups, but RSG, they have to go full engage.
Nope, they're not letting him breathe, and they hook Bray!
Onto Bray, and he doesn't seem like he will be close to purple buff anytime, but he still manages to take it away from Chuma.
Grand Theft Purple already. Chuma, a taste of his own medicine. Where is Seacat? Oh, we've been talking about how much vision and how much better the boxes are going to be for Burnix Flash, but it looks like they're diving in hard and they're and the most unfortunate of pauses. This is the first occurrence of a pause in the knockout stage, so folks, we're still waiting for the update on what exactly needs to be fixed, but do know that we want to give our athletes here, our competitors, the best competitive experience. So now with that being said, small lead over to RSG, SG, and they know this because they've been going super fast.
Yeah. By the way, I just want to take note, related to being fast, I like that they are actually playing fast with Fredrin and Minotaur. Typically, you want to wait for a team fight, right, when you play the Minotaur. But now what they're doing is to invade. Grand Theft Purple, this is the reason why they are so bold going into the purple buff, even when there's like a Beatrix and a Franco out there, because it's because of the fact that you have Sustain coming out from the Minotaur. You cannot give a license to your Fredrin to be aggressive and invade. Typically, Fredrins don't invade, right? Particularly in this case, going up against a Bane. But the fact that they have both Minotaur, two big dudes in the purple buff, right? It's going to be difficult for the defense, and that's the reason why they were able to do it.
We've gotten note that this pause is going to be relatively quick, so folks, don't worry. Here's a quick stat. RSG is the only team that has 100% first bloods and first turret take rates in the group stages. Abstract, is this par for the course? Is this typical RSG behavior?
Well, honestly, all the time when it comes down to MPLSG, they are always crowned as the most aggressive team. They will always want to invade in the jungle as fast as they could. But ironically, despite all these aggressive playstyles, they don't play very aggressive early game roamers, which is unfortunately not really quite Lucian Cutie's flavor.
And something I also noted after watching and studying MPLSG, specifically RSG, right? They really like early aggressive trades. They are willing to give something else off of the map to go as fast as they could and be the aggressor to push their agenda. That's not happening here against Burnix Flash. They're just getting things for free.
They're not afraid to die.
They are. I think that it's generally the idea for RSG is to actually be not afraid to die anytime, because what your win condition could be is to engage, right? But they also have that maybe that second, your plan B, utilizing this Diablo Benedetta for the split push. Now, I'm not entirely confident on whether or not Diablo actually plays that way, right? Maybe Abstract can play this whenever he plays the Benedetta, or maybe Gideon along the way from the sides can actually give us a whether because he's excited to see the Benedetta. Does he play the split push way, right?
Most of the time, he actually do go for split push.
Okay.
But it does seem like it's a little bit out of his character to actually go around
right.
to the opponent's buff that much. Usually, he will
Exactly.
proxy the lanes, and then he will just kind of give information instead. But sometimes from the top lane, he goes over to the middle lane to clear and try to get the hyper carry in himself in the early stages.
So even this seems to be a new book, a new chapter in the
guess so.
RSG playbook. I'm excited to see where this leads and how far they can push Burn X Flash, because getting off on the right foot, despite Burn X Flash having an amazing draft, I'm here for it. And it looks like our Marshall says they are too, as we go back into the game. And there's the hook!
Oh, and of course, it does seem as though Lucy Kitty wants to continue on, but a flicker comes in from Oki to ensure that he'll be able to come close to Donut.
Wow. Great answer coming out from RSG Slate. Well, there was a great hook onto the far side, but the fact that they took a donut in between two lanes, I think that's going to be great.
I think this is going to be bad due to the fact that Donut actually died 2 times in bottom lane already. That is not great in an even matchup between Carry as well as Beatrix. But right now, RSG, they're getting themselves right underneath the turret's nose, and CCAN and D7 doesn't seem like they will be able to defend that too much.
They're treading the needle here, and they see that turtle is up, so they might need us elsewhere. Let's let Donut breathe first, but again, that's a tactical retreat coming in from RSGSG. Up top, Diablo's, again, going as aggressively as he could, forcing ATM here to back out. Something to note about Burn X Flash's draft is they have no real peel. Besides ATM, who actually wants to draw a line between his opponents and his squad, there's really not much they can do to stand up against RSG's damage, and now a free turtle take right in front of ATM's face.
Roy did manage to get hit by the grab, but it doesn't seem like it will be too big of a thing, because RSG don't want to be so aggressive on ATM. Great escape though when it comes down to the flicker. In the meantime, down to the bottom lane, great start coming from CCAT. Oki knew that they have no choice but to take the fight head on. He goes down, and so will Lucent Cutie.
The numbers game were against RSG down bottom, and it looks like they couldn't find a way to capitalize, so this was a losing trade.
Oh, 100%. Burn X Flash. Great cross-map play that you saw from them. They put 3 heroes onto the bottom lane right as the second turtle ended. So what happened was, the members of RC were divided, Oki was left open, and even when they decided to not contest the turtle, they went in for a bottom lane trade where they got a kill onto Oki and the turret.
And given this situation right now, RSG Slate SG have to repair. Let's again look at what gave Burn X Flash here this 500-600 gold lead in this early of a game state. Here's that mistake down bottom. They picked the fight against 3 members.
Donut flickering in, just looking for Oki, not really minding Lucian Cutie. There was a great jump coming from Lucian Cutie eventually, but you saw that Donut was focused on a mission, win the gold lane matchup, and now they're leading by 400. They even transferred to the top lane.
I really like the fact that Burn X Flash immediately went for recovery mode in the bottom lane to try to make things good for Donut. In the meantime, RSG knew what's going to be happening. They went to go down to the bottom lane, but Diablo was unable to hold the fort all by himself.
It's the same flub. RSGSG seems to have overestimated the amount of sustain and the potential for outplay in the lane that they're willing to trade for. So yeah, they are a step behind currently. Now, about 2k down. Bray looking to steal again this purple buff away from Chima, but Chima is a step ahead as well. Look, he took the purple already from RSG.
The siege from Burn X Flash is definitely devastating over to the hands of RSG, right? There's really like not much that they can do. Burn X Flash is just playing their own game, while RSG is a little bit slow on that.
Astral Echo already set in by CCAT, looking for better ways to engage, and here's ATM coming in.
He's just gonna be caught in between of everyone else with the first person down. Bray takes himself the turtle, and Burn X Flash would want to retreat, full-on retreat. Shama makes a quick run, but Diablo with the sword out strike brings him down with 2 members down.
Wonderful recovery coming up from RG Slate. especially because they were able to control that pit on the turtle. But Burn X Flash, macro plays for the past 2 minutes. They traded for bottom lane turret, and then up top they got 2, then they got the middle. They might have given away the turtle, and now another turret, but they are evening up when it comes to the gold just because of their macro adjustments.
It seems like there's a rubber banding effect here that RSG has taken advantage of. The fact that Burn X Flash has been conditioned to send more bodies elsewhere opens up that small window for RSG to, again, shrink this currently 400 gold lead, which was prior about 2,000. 5-5 here. The map's looking as close to 50-50 as it can be with a minute away from the first lord of this game. Now we're looking for that next engage. A lot of vision coming in from Burn X Flash. So I'd say, unless Diablo says, you know what, it's a clear go, boys.
Yeah.
2 here, 3 here.
Yeah.
Find that take. It should be go for RSG. Yeah. One thing to note though, they still have that goal, that tier 1 up top.
Yep.
So I'm thinking, what's going to be the play? Oh yeah, of course, Sendoki.
Yeah, Sendoki there. And by the way, Burn X Flash also managed to push the mid lane turret while also retaining their own. And while it is almost an even matchup when it comes to their economy, the fact that they have maintained their tier 1 in the middle means that they have more map control.
And Donut immediately jumped himself into Banat's rage, followed after D7's hooks.
So that's something you don't have when you're RSG. Everything has to come clean. Everything has to come when you're ready.
The pincer maneuver down on the Oki. ATM brings him down as Burn X Flash huddles together, congregated together to make sure that they will be able to push RSG away from their own jungles.
That's what I was saying. When Burn X Flash says we want this, they're more sure. It's easier to set up. RSG need maybe 2 steps, and here comes Diablo.
Unfortunately, the Petrify just did not connect. ATM comes in between and stops his advance.
Oh, they're going for the blitz. Burn X Flash scores the first lord of the game. Something to note, Diablo usually rocks and execute when he wants to play this way in the Benedetta.
Exactly.
What's with the Petrify?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that, but what I do know is that Burn X Flash had a great last minute. It was the most fluid 1 minute I saw from Burn X Flash. They got a kill in the middle. They pinch from top into that L-bush up top where the lizard is. They got a kill onto Oki, then they get the Lord. That was so fluid from Burn X Flash.
There's definitely some sense in Diablo picking up the Petrify. Now, he kind of pretty much changed his idea and how he wanted to play the game. Instead of going so much of a side split push kind of thing, he will want to play for his team a lot more with the Petrify and all. But unfortunately, it seems like they are completely not utilizing the Benedetta's advantage.
And it looks like D7, the rest of Burn X Flash have read into that. Maybe checkmate, because his hooks have been landing 50% of the time, and that's a huge stat. That's a huge amount of hooks coming in through a 10-minute game. That's a tier 2 in mid push, the main artery exposed for RSG. Slate SG, Burn X Flash looking to capitalize. They have a Lord. All the lasers synced.
The top lane is just gonna be marched down by the Trident-bearing Lord, and he's gonna be melted down relatively fast.
Whoa.
In the meantime, great snipe down onto Lucid Cutie. The front line is not gonna be there for a good amount of time. There's not gonna be some presence coming in, but Red Hot coming in right through onto Oki, and this RSG doesn't have the damage that they wanted anymore.
Knock up that stat to about 60%. If not, it's worth it. I don't care. You get 1 hook that matters. That's all that matters right now. And oh,
Phantom airstrike along with a deadly cat. Everything's just gonna be tossed right on the opponents, and they will throw whatever that they can. ATM gets himself snacked out on top of Lucid Cutie. There's gonna be a 2-for-1 trade, but Oki, he's coming back out. The top lane and the middle lane inhibitor turret is unfortunately gonna be taken down, followed shortly by the bottom.
4v4, the defense of a lifetime coming in from RSG Slate. Roy doesn't have his feathered airstrike just yet. Burn X Flash, let's go.
The Cambodian aggression, we're talking about this. It was part of the skills that we were given, and now we can see it. Ever since 9 minutes, they didn't even let go of the pressure they're putting on the map. Pushing up top, pushing a bit, getting the Lord, and when they pushed against RSG, they stayed, but did not overstay. They got a pick off, they got more, but wonderful plays coming out from Roy.
Do you see how much damage that was? Even Sika wasn't ready. Even Sika was shocked.
That was a big catch. Let's say that, and not to forget, the Lord will be coming up in 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Seacat will just barely make it. So I believe that RSG, they can actually try to force a fight due to the fact that Novaria is nowhere to be seen anymore.
Roy still needed to be there, and Roy would rather not died. And rather, Seacat, Roy got him. The fact that he kept his flicker might mean that he's willing to gamble that. But wait, look at this rotation coming in.
Oh, I love it because I was just about to say,
Check it out.
RSG, the only way for them to win this is via split push. Get a long lane pusher, like Diablo, for example. But look at that. You can see that Bird Splash knew that this could happen. They just guessed it wrongly.
Oh, the bloody hunt down on the Diablo. Donut was around, so RSG, they have the information. They're gonna be going 4-man all in down to the Lord and immediately bring down ATM. But unfortunately, he do have got the revive, and he, with the immortality, he's gonna be holding him back on ATM. He's dead. He may be dead. RSG do not have Diablo as well.
Given the way the map looks like, no more inhibitors for RSG Slate SG. Burn Flash read the room and understood that we can blitz the Lord. They're going to be forced to back out. We have vision on them. We're going to take this Luminous Lord and play the slow roll.
Now, that's some high-level understanding coming up from Vertex Flash, and I really love their macro. Like I said, they just guessed a wrong bush, but the idea was there. They wanted to shut down Diablo because Diablo is the remaining win condition from RSG. The biggest problem for RSG now on this defense is that they will have to commit the Feathered Airstrike. And we know for sure that without the Feathered Airstrike, you will only rely on Oki's damage output, which is single target damage against the engage comp now of Burn X Flash. That is a big problem. How will they manage their resources? When will they use the Feathered Airstrike? That's a big dilemma for RSG.
And that's what's making this all the more difficult. And that's why Burn X Flash has so much time and space to work with.
Yes,
they now
absolutely.
have the Lord marching down through mid. It's a 5v5 defense, the siege of a lifetime. Can they start it up strong?
The threat is not quite there yet for Oki, but big strike coming from Donut, leaving Diablo with only a slip of health. But unfortunately, Lucian Kitty is not going to be staying alive for any more longer. The Lord is still at half HP. The bloody hunt connects down onto Diablo, and the entirety of the push-in from Burning Flash conquered RSG Slate SG.
You can hear the crowd roar. The Kamai love it. Burn X Flash draws first blood.
In the last push, you saw the ultimate coming up from Seacat connecting onto 5 members. A pipe dream for Novaria players out there. And you saw how much the vision was instrumental to them hitting and landing those skill shots.
That is a big fight for Burn X Flash, and RSG unfortunately could not contain Burn X Flash rotation. The macro game is just great, and they had the answers to deal with Diablo's split push, even though that was his first time doing so in this game.
Folks, it's also the first time RSGSG has tasted the bitter blade of defeat. The whole MSC, they ran right through the group stages, clean sweeps back-to-back, but now in the hands of Burn X Flash, they have tasted their first loss. Gideon, what do you think? Was that coming out of nowhere, or was it just as exciting given the back and forth?
I love the back and forth. I love the Benedetta, but I think Wolf put it the best. Be like water, be fluid. This is, again, the momentum. I've never seen momentum turn a team literally into a liquid. Cats are liquid, Burn X Flash are burning hard this time, almost even a forest fire. But this is only just the very first game. But let's keep that in mind, right? There is still going to be adjustments and adaptations from RSG's side. And the one big one that I personally feel that may have contributed into this is executional error on this Benedetta. But that's the obvious one, right? It's Glue versus Benedetta. You just have to guess when the Franco is going to use the Bloody Hunt to go for the eye for an eye. It's a very small margin of error compared to Glue.
Definitely, and I think that the margin of error kind of shrunk coming out from for the side of RSG's late SGs because of the fact that they decided to choose a marksman that is single target damage and then couple it up and just rely on the Farsa to go for the wave clear. So apart from the fact that they don't have AoE, they don't have necessary wave clear to kind of counteract what the pick-off comp is going to be for Burn X Flash. They wanted to go for a split pushing Diablo Benedetta. That is valid. That has worked before. But I would wish that they had more wave clear to go with that so that when they lose a team fight, at least they can split push and just clear the wave, wait for the carry to be stronger the next fight.
I think the deficit of economy between Oki and Diablo is going to be one thing, right? Because they have been putting quite a lot of resources onto Diablo. Diablo trying to push as much as possible. He's taking quite a lot of creep waves as well. So we don't really quite see that kind of funnel into Oki like other team does. They put a lot of gold onto Beatrix, like for Burn X Flash. That's what they did. They sent Beatrix to the top lane right after the first defense turret goes down. They wiped out the first tier and the second tier. From that point on, Beatrix pretty much has a snowball.
And this is off of the back of Donut dying twice in the early game.
Yes.
I think Burn X Flash just had a better look into what the mid-game spike is going to be.
A better recovery, right?
Yeah, and recovered through their minds. Let's go ahead and reward our MVP for Game 1.
Yep, it's gonna go over to D7 on his Franco. Again, when you're comparing them, D7 versus Lucian QD, it's very obvious to know that Iron Hook makes such a difference.
Just in time, 1-0 and 9. I didn't even notice that he didn't have any depth in this game. The fact that he landed at a certain point above 50% of his hooks, which is amazing, by the way. You don't get as much looks like that. And then he will, not only that, the way that he flickers in with the Bloody Hunt onto important members, like onto Diablo in specific skirmishes, the way that he was able to land his hooks, it's not just about landing the hooks on the right targets. That gave them the advantage for sure.
Again, we talked about how those hooks could not matter even more in the late game, but the fact that when we caught the stat, it was at 51%. Woo! Was that his second or third landed hook this game? Probably. It was a punish, and I think that was key. I think the fact that D7 never let go. D7 said, yeah, Donut, it sucks right now. Just hold on, watch my hooks. Whoever I bite down, take him down.
Yeah, this is important. Look at the flicker coming up from Donut. It's great. And allow me to be a nerd right now for the highlights, just because of the fact that I think I'm excited for this. This is the 9-minute rotation. This is the start. He gets a hook, and now look at the pinch that will happen afterwards. They will get a kill onto this L bush, right? The pinch. Everybody's there all of a sudden, right? And you know what happens after? They are gonna get the Lord. This made me break my voice because it's how great the macro was coming up from Burn X Flash. Man, I hate to be the nerd here, but man, they just look so fluid.
They read the room and they understood the next step without even talking about it. I'm pretty sure if you could listen to the comms, they could have said, yeah, Lord. All together. A chorus.
A chorus, as a matter of fact. I totally agree with you there. I've never seen Wolf soil his pants as hard as after seeing Burn X Flash make that beautiful trickle down in towards Lord's side. But let's really take put a magnifying glass on the overall game, because I think at the end of the day, it's very ult-reliant for the side of RSG, and they don't have that continuous cooldown that they can reliably force things out of their opponents.
And one thing to take note is that Diablo didn't go for any kind of defensive item, apart from maybe the Bloodlust Axe, which kinda counts as a defensive item if you do land the damage out. But overall, you see Diablo being bursted down so easily with just one flicker and some spells coming up from BXF is already putting him down, which is a problem because now you don't have sustain and also you don't have the valid split push.
Very uncharacteristic of Diablo, actually. He normally doesn't go for third item Malefic Roar. Most of the time he would want to go and respect the opponents and build a proper defense. Sometimes he doesn't even finish the Hunter Strike.
Actually, I'm on a different opinion here. I understand what he's trying to do, because as an EXP laner, especially when you're going up against someone like Glue, you're not trying to win the lane as hard, but they kind of do the same thing. You're trying to zone off that backline, and you're not as tanky as Glue, so therefore put all your points in attack just to threaten the life of the Beatrix.
But that's only if you're thinking about the Glue. Look at the rest of Burn X Flash. You have a Bane, you have a Beatrix, you have a Novaria. That kind of greed isn't going to work, especially when Seacat, as soon as he sees Astral Echoes off cooldown, let me see where the Benedetta is.
And conversely, Chimod had a great, adjustment, I'd say. Because there was a time where he was easily bursted down during the turtle fights. So after focusing on damage, which typically you can expect that from a Bane jungle, he reverted back to defense, going for the brute force.